It's been great. I started with having little to no information about EB1A, got my fundamentals very strong with your guidance as my principal coach. Then we again went to the second stage where I was creating my profile and trying to see how my expertise integrates with different criteria. That's where your help on how I sort of address various criteria was instrumental to me.
Congratulations, Ankit, for becoming EB1 Achiever and fulfilling your dream. How do you feel now?
Relieved and happy both. Thanks for all the help and assistance.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now, for the benefit of everybody, introduce yourself, your expertise, and where you work.
I'm Ankit. I work at Google and I primarily work in the field of ethical AI and data engineering, which is broader part of the data science ecosystem. And I have over a decade of work experience progressing from data engineering to predictive modeling to ethical AI.
Wonderful. So, when did you join the Next League program, Ankit?
September 2023.
Okay. Oh, that's wonderful. Slightly around more than a year. You were ready by that, but the filing formalities and everything that makes it you becoming EB1 achiever. Now, what made you join the Next League program as compared to other possibilities and options that might be existing at that point of time for you?
When I went through my online research, I wanted to look for programs that provide objective guidance and structure to how the preparation should be, how the criteria look like, and how the approach to prepare your profile should be. And I liked the Next League program approach because I saw the MJ Wolf videos and the done process and everything there itself. And I loved that everything was in a very simple framework, and working at Deloitte and Google and all, everything is about framework. That resonated with me and prompted me to join Next League program.
Wonderful. It took almost a year for you to be part amongst the achievers of the EB1 along with the Next League. Congratulations. How confident were you on the scale of 1 to 10 before joining the program, and at what stage you felt, oh, it is just a matter of time now for me?
When I joined the program, my confidence would have been 2 out of 10. By July, August, when I had done a lot of my work in the program based on the methodology that the program proposes, my confidence rose to 7 by July, August. And then when I started preparing my petition, which took a few months, it slowly and gradually rose to 9.5 with the program's support.
Wonderful. Now, tell us your experience working with Mr. Shire.
Erudite knows a lot about how to proceed in every case, and I love that he customizes his approach, and the way he addresses every case gives intellectual freedom to the petitioner and beneficiary to be able to express what they would want and what criteria they would want without being super imposing, yet has his opinion, which is super important. His intellect and his freedom giving capabilities are my favorite of his attributes, which were both important for me. I needed someone to have an intellectual conversation, and at the same time, I had a few things in my mind that I wanted to put in my petition and wanted it to go a certain way. I still remember my first conversation with Mr. Shah, and I said, can we have everything data driven and super objective? And he was like, sure. Everything became that way in the petition because he honored what I requested there. That speaks volumes about how he is as a lawyer.
Wonderful. Before, Mr. Shire, I ask you more about Ankit. Let me tell you, I always tell people in the program actually that there are three dimensions. Ankit likes to speak on data points. I like to speak in the view of dimensions actually. There are always three dimensions to select a good attorney. Obviously, first and foremost is the intellectual acumen. The second dimension is in terms of acceptance of new concepts and ideas. The lawyer ideally should be willing to experiment sometimes new because EB1A petition involves something very creative, especially with the petitions like Ankit, where it is being represented by Next League, where the creativity goes to the highest level, goes to the zenith actually. So the first dimension is intellectual prowess. Second becomes the adaptability and innovations that a lawyer needs to follow. And third thing is responsiveness and being available. There's no point in somebody being very intellectual, but the person is not being responsive. It's of no use. And definitely the people in the program love you. And so far you have got over 9+ cases and more are in the pipeline. You score highest in terms of all the three dimensions. Let's put it that way. In terms of your intellectual acumen, in terms of your adaptability, how do you manage that as compared to other attorneys? This is more personal for you, Mr. Shah. Lawyers have to have a particular rigidity, let's say that. How do you manage or play between the rigidity of being a good lawyer also not from a negative sense. Some lawyers are rigid, but they are good also. And also being adaptable and flexible.
That's a constant balancing act. As an attorney, we're balancing laws and situations. Our symbol is the scales. The idea of balancing the intellectual pursuits, the creativity, but also with the rigidity of the law. There has to be weighing of the each aspect and making sure that at the end of it, there is a balance. We can take innovative ideas into consideration, but if we're using innovative ideas, it has to be balanced in the opposite regard with sound case law and authoritative statutory positions. It's a constant balancing act. That has always been my approach to any legal question, honestly. And in the EB1A context, it's even more profound in using it in that way.
Wonderful. I like what you said. Rigidity is about maintaining the ethics and ethos of law, while you don't bring it into the personality or a character of being a lawyer, which is more human.
Gotta be more relatable. Sometimes the law is something very difficult for people to understand and comprehend and get to. And so me as an attorney, my whole role is to facilitate the understanding of everybody to the law, right? Our responsibility as attorneys is to give access to justice, access to understanding and going through these legal processes.
I like what you said, access to justice, and that means a lot. Moreover, second connection, which you mentioned, that brings your adaptability in terms of relativeness, in terms, accessibility. Sorry, not adaptability, accessibility. That brings in your accessibility, managing your own personal, professional balance. In terms of your adaptability, I like what you said. Adaptability is to the new concepts that you are doing. There is a common trend, Mr. Shah, that lawyers are expected or believe be more rigid in terms of law, at least. We have tried a lot of, and Ankit is a perfect manifestation of that in his entire case. Not only his case was by Nextly, but let's go a little deeper. He has 4 original contributions, and one of them also happens to be the AI persona, for which Ankit has helped us develop from a AI perspective, he being an AI expert himself. Now, how do you see the law, business of law, in the process of law, the jurisprudence, in fact, new concepts being innovated, and we taking help even from person like Ankit, who is an AI expert, and that becomes his original contribution. From that perspective, his petition had become his expertise, whether it was AI persona, whether it was even the probability document. These are new innovations we have tried in the Nextly program and with your support. How do you see that changing the field of law itself? Let's put it that way.
The law is a box, right? If we think about it in a box, what we're trying to do is get to the edges and push the box into different areas. And the law does take a long time to adapt and change. And one of the things that we have a responsibility to do is to push and use innovative ideas to hold the judges and the legislature accountable for different changes and adapting to these things. The judiciary and the legislature have to adapt to the use of AI in every aspect of our lives. And the immigration aspect is just one part of it. And Keith exemplifies that in terms of him being an expert, that he has been able to develop certain concepts to be used in front of immigration, but he is an AI expert in and of himself. And he's probably dealing with legal issues as an AI expert in his job. There are multiple aspects of AI that the law has to deal with. And for us, in this immigration context, we're using it to push boundaries in terms of who can give a testimony, who's able to give testimony in which way. How do we develop concepts or ways to enhance and improve applications? We're doing it, and they have to respond to our innovations. And we either are going to be late to the game or we got to be at the forefront.
Wonderful. One of the unique things what we have been doing in the Nextly program, and especially with the people being sponsored, Ankit happens to be a 5th case to be approved from the Nextly, and also there are multiple levels of innovations we have done. Ankit has also helped us to create a paper on the Bayesian statistics probability, which many people have, even I think other attorneys are also accepting it actually, and it has successfully navigated through USCIS. Let us talk about your views on the Bayesian statistical model.
Yeah, that's another cutting edge thing that Ankit has helped produce. We need to quantify qualitative issues in the law, right? Especially when it comes to immigration. How do we quantify someone's extraordinary ability? How do we quantify significant impact for an original contribution? How do you quantify the impact of a scholarly article? Journals have impact factors, articles don't necessarily do. There are a lot of quantitative issues that are needed in every aspect of the law. We're trying to introduce that to EB1A petitions in the immigration process to try to bring quantifiable solutions and comprehension to the EB1A process.
Wonderful. Ankit, there are some more questions on the whole AI persona also. But before that, Ankit, let us understand for the benefit of everybody, how much per day time that you were spending in your entire EB1 journey?
There was a gradient. When I started, it would be 2-3 hours per day when I was absorbing the concepts when I started with Next League. Then it quickly escalated to 5-6 hours per day when it was creating the profile. And then, in all honesty, sometimes even more when we started the petition work. It's like just another job. When we come to creating the petition and compiling and combining everything, it's not 1-2 hours a day of work because it needs continuous and, as they use the word sustained in EV1A, sustained focus from 2-3 hours per day to 6-7 hours per day from starting till the end.
So that's very intense. As I mentioned, that your petition itself was a manifestation of your expertise in a lot manner, actually. That goes pretty well because many people believe that, oh, profile building is there and then they just dump all the documents to any attorneys and their job is done. In fact, at every stage, there is a beginning, actually. You finish up your profile, scale up your knowledge, and then start working with attorneys. That's how there is a three-level process that happens in the entire EB1A process, which people at times don't realize or understand. Now, coming to the program, Ankit, what has been your experience in the program and especially working with me?
It's been great. I started with having little to no information about EB1A, got my fundamentals very strong with your guidance as my principal coach. Then we again went to the second stage where I was creating my profile and trying to see how my expertise integrates with different criteria. That's where your help on how I sort of address various criteria was instrumental to me. And then we came to the last phase, which was working with Mr. Mohammed to create the petition where insights about what would work and what might not, all those things, your guidance at every step, an objective, honest guidance without too much sugarcoating or without trying to appease, that really helped because for me, again, it was all about data. And you customized your approach for me, giving me all the important data points that I needed to prove to myself that I am convinced with my claims, if not anyone else. That's what really, really helped me bolster my confidence. That's what bolstered my lawyer's confidence too, because when you are confident, then it is easy to convince them as well. Very, very step by step pedagogical process, like a teacher, that really helped. There was no point where I did not get support. All these three phases of understanding EV1, creating your profile, then petition, I got your unwavering support.
Thank you for your kind words. I have another question for you, Ankit. Please be completely free to respond in any way you want. Let's assume that you had not joined the Next League program. Would you have got EB1A so far? Or if yes, how much more time it would have taken for you?
I don't know if I would have gotten EB1A at this time because if a chemical reaction happens without a catalyst, it just keeps happening. A lot of times it would just have been that for me. I needed a catalyst that could accelerate this for me. It would have taken me easily 2 to 3 years just to get into the vogue and understand the nitty-gritty and then apply. If I'm just looking at the data points of how difficult the process has become. And now with more complex petitions, higher standards of everyone filing with such great profiles, that could have even increased the timeline, double or triple the amount of time that has taken me right now, easily, if I did not join Next League.
Wonderful. Now, Mr. Shah, you have helped over 9+ cases, as I mentioned, from the Next League. Ankit happens to be 35th or 36th achiever now. Actually, you have been a great asset. How do you see Ankit's profile as an EB1A achiever as compared to many people who otherwise, even from outside, approach you? And what made you confident about Ankit? And basically, what you look for in any profile before taking up on the case? That would be my question to you.
Yeah, whenever working with any client, especially when I'm deciding whether I want to work with them, first is what kind of preparation have they done, right? Are they coming to me to do the work for them in terms of profile building? Are they already prepared with some of the evidence? I prefer to work with someone who is diligent, who has a good position in their company and understands the EB1A process, right? Especially with someone who wants to get it done in a certain way and in a certain time. I expect my clients to work hard. I expect my clients to have a lot done already. I expect my clients to ask me questions when needed. I expect my clients to reach out to me because I can't help you if you're not helping yourself. That is like the main requirement, honestly. If you're willing to do the work and have the diligence and integrity to do the work, and you guys' service, something that I'm very passionate about is serving people who want to do good. I will do everything in my power to ensure that the case succeeds. When I first met Ankit, very impressive professional history, very impressive in terms of his ability to work hard and get things done and produce when needed.
Absolutely. And Mr. Shair, I must also compliment you are the only lawyer and attorney, immigration attorney, who has helped because there are two possibilities normally traditionally people have been accepting or going forward in EB1A cases. The first is people do a self-petition, which is traditionally the way. Second option that people do is an employer based. And third, we have experimented that enough actually so far to validate the process. Next league being talent scout, and you help to evolve because conceptually that might have been the next league's idea, but you found a legal way of actualizing it. It is even new for the USCIS. So let's talk about that from your perspective. How do you see on a broader level? Apart from this, we have also done a lot of other things, as we mentioned about AI persona. We are talking about Bayesian statistics. Also give expert opinion for salary, which is also very innovative, which people give traditionally only the evidences. Now, how do you see next league sponsorship? How do you see that coming forward? And how do you see USCIS accepting these new innovations in a EB1A petition? One is a very specific question about next league sponsoring, and the second is more innovations in general by USCIS.
Yeah, in regards to the petitioner, within I-140, there has to be a petitioner. And who this petitioner is a good question. We've come to the conclusion that the US law allows any third-party petitioner to file for someone. You can be the individual themselves, it could be the employer, or it could be a third party that is involved and has a stake in the success of the beneficiary. Right. And that's what we've done with Next League, where you as a coach and have a stake in the success of this beneficiary getting their case approved. And this is something that not many people do with the EB1As. Most people think of it just as traditionally self-petitioner, right? You get your EB2 from your employer, your EB1 you do on your own, and you try to do it on your own merits. Well, there is a possibility in the use of a third-party petitioner to help bolster your petition, right? It's not just you. There's a third-party American company that also wants you here in the US. Not directly employer, but it's someone that's willing to advocate for your immigration. And when it comes to general innovation and innovation that I've done with you, Mr. Ranjit, it's something that's necessary in terms of staying relevant and constant with something like immigration. There needs to be, especially such a crucial time, I would say, like the American consciousness around immigration, right? There's been a lot of changes. There's been a lot of frustration with the immigration process. And when we try innovative ideas, we are challenging the status quo of the immigration system and we're trying to improve it. Right, we're pushing them towards good.
Absolutely. Ankit, from your perspective as an expert, there have been a lot of multiple layers of innovations in your petition, right from demonstrating and as a data scientist, as we call data points, we had dimensions being depicted in your petitions because we realize that sustain is not necessarily the time aspect of it. There is also an impact factor and the knowledge that comes in. Then we speak about Bayesian statistics and we speak about AI persona. Now, as an expert yourself, how do you see, not from legal perspective, but from a scientific perspective?
From a scientific perspective, these layers improve your odds of convincing a person that you're an expert in different ways. It's like a concoction of probabilities. Bayesian statistics we included because we wanted to ensure that the preponderance of evidence standard is met. Then AI persona and the dimensions to sustained a claim or FMD, which is in my very little experience with whatever cases I have seen, is the most contested aspect. It bolstered that probability. AI persona and the three dimensions that we had, impact, continuity, and temporal element. These are all the layers that increase the probability of or chances of you convincing someone. It's not 100% because there is always a chance to grow, but it's a multi-dimensional convincing that we are doing with these different aspects. And that's what I like about it. We are not hung on one aspect that, oh, criteria have to be met. We are looking at many different things. That's what I liked about having different layers, Bayesian, then AI persona, then multiple 3D for sustain the claim, and so many other things as well that we added to the profile.
Wonderful. Now, Ankit, this is a message to people in general. Actually, there are total 1.5 million people who are waiting for the green card in the USA, either who are on H1B or EB2 approved. And as you said, you were initially feeling you were not confident about EB1, but now obviously over a period you got it. People also believe that there is a lot of hype around Einstein visa. This is not for me. You need to be an Oscar level person. What's your message to those people?
There is always an inertia when the car starts. but when it starts, it just reaches. If we drive it in the right direction, you just need to start it and be on a road where you can be guided by programs like Next League and then reach your destination. Philosophically, that's what I would say. And otherwise, yes, it is difficult, but now I've realized that it is not unattainable or insurmountable. I used to think a year ago. And what I liked about this process was not just getting proved. What I liked about it is that this process gives you a jump start to another level in your career. What is most valuable? Because we can't just have it. We have to show that we are extraordinary from now on, or we always were. It improved my network with professors and non-profits and over the world, improved my visibility, brand, which I was not working towards. There is a lot of lateral benefit to this process, I would say. It's tough, but the benefits are abundant. It's definitely worth a try for everyone who wants to expedite their immigration as well as their expertise development, both.
Wonderful. Now, with reference to program, talk about the benefit that you got, not in terms of coaching per se, but in terms of the community, friends you made, collaboration.
One of the biggest advantages was collaboration and everyone genuinely wanting to uplift others. Everyone's expertise is different, even if it's the same field. There is no cannibalism of sorts, it's just development. I have made so many friends who sometimes wanted me to get EB1A more than I wanted. I get that feeling. Everyone manifests for you, everyone prays for you. And then we collaborated on building material and helping each other what could be improved in their profile without thinking that, oh, he should not get, only I should get. It was a very, very healthy community, and it is a very healthy community where people help you always. That's the pivotal part of this whole program.
Okay, wonderful. Now, there are other people who feel, oh, they are good and are always on a fence of joining the program, maybe for a monetary perspective or whether it could be lack of confidence. What's your message to them?
Decisiveness is far more dangerous than taking this decision. I was not indecisive when I had my first call with you. Neither should they. They should join it because the process is not as easy as just reading the 10 criteria on the policy manual or on the website. There are so many nuances to it, and you have it packaged in the program. It becomes very easy to grasp it and then focus on other pivotal parts, which is profile building and petition collaboration with the lawyer. I would say that they should join the program because it is worth an investment in yourself and your immigration status, and expedite it without pondering too much over whether we should join or not. The time value of money is far more worth than the money invested.
Wonderful. It took almost 1 year for you to be ready for filing your EB1A petition. And obviously, we had some cases where people did it early. This is definitely not a race, I always tell people. Some people have taken least as 4 months, and some people have taken longer also, 18, 19 months, or even some people are still working on that. But there are some people who join the program. First day, they want their CVs and their expertise to be defined. Next day, their criteria. And after that, they want their petition to be ready. Now, what would be your message to them in terms of asking them to follow the process and the importance of following the process?
While the bias for action is appreciated in such cases, the complexity needs to be addressed with the structure that is there in the program. If the bias for action is being confused by finding shortcuts, that's going to lead to a lot of repetitive work later. We have seen empirically some folks, unfortunately, having to reiterate on their expertise, which means all letters have to be rewritten, everything has to be recreated. Spending 1, 2, 3 months in the heat of slowly grasping the process is far more important than getting your expertise, this eureka moment on day one. That might lead to repetitive work and a lot of wasting time in the subsequent phases where really bias of action is needed. I would say it's important to follow the process meticulously.
Wonderful. Mr. Shah, from your perspective as an immigration attorney, there is a lot of hype, don't hesitate to use the word, for extraordinary ability, EB1A being an Einstein visa, you need to be Nobel laureate. We have, in fact, 36 achievers from our program. At the same time, I would have met over more than 100 EB1A achievers, including outside the program. Let us go a little granular here. What exactly you think USCIS is looking for, and the whole purpose of jurisprudence of EB1A in a very simple term, so that people who aspire, they don't feel overwhelmed by the very nature of it, even before starting.
USCIS is pretty straightforward. We have the statutory request for sustained international and national acclaim, continue to work in the area of expertise, and substantial prospective benefit. Those are like the statutory requirements, and then we have the criteria, and then we have the full merits determination, final merits determination. USCIS wants to see that you have reached a level of sustained acclaim and that you will continue to work in this field and you will provide substantial benefit to the United States, that you will be able to produce, you have the qualifications to give benefit to the United States. At the end of it is just looking at your entire profile together with the criteria, with all the evidence you've provided. In totality, do you have these qualities? Are you at the top of your field? That is what they're looking for. They're looking for individuals who are highly experienced, highly professional, highly skilled to the level of extraordinary ability.
Wonderful, wonderful. Ankit, now you have got your American dream fulfilled. You got your I-140 approved. You already have EB2 also approved. Now, what's your priority date?
July 2018.
Some people in the program even got their green cards in flat 45 days. You just need to file your adjustment of status. What's next in the agenda in life for you after this?
The agenda in life is to ensure that I sustain the promises that I've made as my long-term goals and to keep doing work in my field of expertise and reach the global heights that I've always wanted to. Work with top schools to develop AI frameworks, work with the government to help them use AI in a safe and a responsible manner. In summary, continuing to work in my field and growing in that field.
Wonderful. That's very noble and resonates with the whole purpose. We are very proud of you, Ankit, for becoming an EB1 achiever, being part of the Next League and also being a Next League petitioner's beneficiary for the EB1A. And when I look at you, I see that this whole program was created for people like you. And thank you very much for making us proud. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Ankit.
Thank you.